All right, let's familiarize ourselves with the router just a little bit deeper. All right. Now, there's some components of a router that you need to be aware of. You got the ROM, RAM, NVRAM, and flash. These are the things that you will be asked in your certification. ROM. What is ROM? ROM, as it says there, holds the bootstrap, the mini iOS, ROM, and post. The very first thing that happens is just that, is a post, like in any other computer. Okay, so ROM, that's what it holds. If you find yourself in something that says ROM, and if you boot up your router should never be rebooted or booted unless you're doing some sort of upgrade or what have you, or different types of configurations that you need a reboot on. But that means that's a router that's not part of a working network, or you took it out and replaced it, what have you. But if your router rebooted for whatever reasons, or you purchase a router and it pops up into a mode called ROMing, that means that something went wrong with your operating system, or something's definitely not correct with maybe the hardware, or something's missing in that router. So ROMing is not a place you want to find yourself in, but it's part of ROM. Okay, mini iOS, that's exactly what it is. It's like a safe mode for computers. You go in there to work out any problems that you may have if you're allowed to get in there, and that's the way you can do that. And all these different components, especially ROM, can be forced to get into, or manipulating it to get into, by changing the registry of the router. Now, RAM. What is RAM? RAM does hold what you just configured at the moment. Right now, what you're configuring on a router, that is what you're going to see in RAM. That's when we do a show run. That's what we're looking at. What's in RAM at the moment. If you do not do a copy run start and your router turns off because power outage, whatever the case may be, all that information will be gone. So the RAM does hold the current running configurations as it states, but it also holds the ARP cache and the routing table. And it holds that because those are volatile. They change constantly. If you add subnets, take out subnets, depending on which way you're going, those tables will change. NVRAM, there's your hard drive. There's your backup right there. When you do a copy run, running config, to startup config, you're copying whatever is inside the running configuration, what's in the RAM right now, into the NVRAM, which is not volatile. It will always be there whether you lose your power or not. It's your hard drive. Think of it that way. It's your hard drive or your router. And lastly, your flash. That holds the internetworking operating system, your Cisco iOS. All right. And it is proprietary per router. So the 2600 router, the 2900 router, the 1800 router, the 7200 router, all those have their own specific series of iOSs. You cannot interchange from a 2900 to a 2600. You cannot do that. It will not work. All right. They can be flashed. All right. Meaning they can be upgraded on the fly. They can be done. Okay, because that's why they sit in flash, those electrical programmable chips, EEPROMs, that you can go ahead and update your iOSs. But it has to be with the same particular version. But these components, most definitely, you need to get to know them, in the sense that you need to know what they are, what they hold, in the order that they boot from once we get to that point in the lesson. But yes, definitely be familiarized with these components, your ROM, RAM, NVRAM, and flash. One of the things to be very careful, never ever, unless you're doing this deliberately for whatever reason, delete flash. You do not want to do that. If you delete flash, that means you're getting rid of your iOS, your operating system. It will allow you to do that. So that's why it's very, very dangerous to allow anyone to get into your privilege mode on your router. Because if they delete your flash, there goes your operating system. So that's something that you don't want to happen. But there you go. Those are your internal components of your Cisco router.